Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Julie Aronson, and I'm really happy that you're here. So today's video is actually a really special one. I'm very excited about it. It is a collaboration with Katie Marie. Katie has a channel called From My Vanity, and I've been watching Katie for a while now, and I really can connect with her because she's another mom. I'm a mom as well, and so, you know, moms always have that bond, but I also just really enjoy her channel. She has lots of great videos, super creative ideas. She does a lot of great Shop My Stash videos, which actually brings me to how we came to do this collab together. So a few weeks ago, Katie posted a Shop My Stash video and I was watching it, and she mentioned something when she was going through and talking about the Juvia's Place Masquerade mini palette. I believe hers was the mini. And this is a great palette. This is one of my favorite palettes for sure. I actually have a video with a look with this palette, so I can link that up above for you if you want to check that out. But when she talked about this palette, she made some comment about that she could use this palette for a month and she wouldn't get bored because there's just so much variety in it. And that just gave me such a great idea for a video. I agree, this is one that I could use for a month and not get bored with because it has a lot of variety. You know, it has all of those beautiful, bright, colorful shades, but then it has all of your neutrals if you want to do those kind of things. You can combine them, you can use them separately. And I wondered how many palettes I have in my collection that I could say the same thing about as I could for this one, that I could use them for a month. Literally just use the one palette for a month and not get bored. And for those of us who are, you know, beauty lovers, makeup junkies, that's kind of difficult because we like to switch around our stuff. I think for a lot of us, we like to be able to pull, you know, one thing one day, one thing another day, maybe even just, you know, even if you use one palette for 1 week and then switch to another one, even that's a little bit of a challenge. So for 1 month, that is definitely a challenge. So I wrote a comment on Katie's video and said, you gave me such a great idea for a video because of this comment that you made. And she wrote back and asked if I wanted to do the video together. And I was super thrilled, and I am really excited. And I think that it really speaks to Katie's character because she immediately, after she saw my comment, she saw that I had a channel and she subscribed to me, and she could certainly see that I'm a much smaller channel than she is, but she still was really wanting to do this collab with me. And sometimes a lot of people, you know, don't want to do collaborations with people that have smaller channels because they're not really going to benefit, you know. Maybe they will a little bit, but they're not gonna like gain a lot of people from those smaller channels. So I just really think that that speaks to Katie's character, that she saw my channel. She obviously, you know, liked something that she saw and she wanted to do this video with me. So I'm really excited. Please make sure and check out Katie's video and her channel as well. I will link both of those down below. She's awesome, and I think that you will love her as much as I do. So we decided that we were going to each pick 5 palettes, and we both wanted to make sure that these were not limited edition palettes. These are palettes that you can still get, because, you know, what's more frustrating than talking about how great a palette is and you can't even get it. I have no idea what palettes Katie chose, so it will be really interesting to see which palettes we have in common. And everyone has their own style, so, you know, if you look at one of these palettes and you think, oh man, I would get so bored if I used that one for a month, well, then obviously that wouldn't go on your list, but you know, that's what makes the world go round, right? So these palettes are the ones that, to me, I could use for a solid month, and I feel like I could get enough different types of looks that I wouldn't get bored. So no more talk, let's just get into it. So the first one that I have to talk about is the one that I am wearing on my eyes today, and it's actually the newest one to my collection. This is the Desert Dusk palette by Huda Beauty. This is a palette, let me just show you what it looks like on the inside. This is a palette that I never planned on getting. I've talked about this before, but in case you're new, I got this during the most recent VIB sale at Sephora. And what happened was I walked into Sephora, I planned on getting some samples of things to try to see what I wanted to get during that sale. And they had this on display. And for some reason, I just decided to swatch it. And I fell in love. I really was impressed. I had no idea. I really didn't think that, you know, her palettes were anything that special. I remembered that the original Rose Gold, and of course she's now come out with the remastered Rose Gold palette, but that the original got really bad reviews. And then when this one came out, people were saying really good things about it, but I don't know, I still had that you know, voice in the back of my mind that's like, her palettes aren't great, they're overpriced, because they are pretty pricey. This is a pricey palette, and I do recommend getting it on sale, you know, if you can. But I was so impressed by this. It just swatched beautifully. And you can already see that there's so much variety in this palette. And so that's part of the reason. So part of the reason that I wouldn't get bored is just because it is really good quality. I mean, I wouldn't want to use something over a month that I feel like I'd have to work super hard to make it look good. I feel like these blend so beautifully. Even some of these darker shades, even that purple. I'm a lover of purples, and purples can be challenging to get right, especially matte purples. And this purple is such a beautiful purple. It doesn't feel super soft. Like when I put my finger in it, it doesn't feel soft, but you can see it's super pigmented and it really does blend out super nicely. It's not a tough purple to work with, and it does look like that purple on your eyes. Sometimes it can look a little more pink, and this one really does look like that purple. And what's cool is this has a lot of different types of finishes. So it has a lot of beautiful mattes. It has a lot of great mattes to choose from. So you've got, you know, some really warm mattes. You know, you've got the orange and you've got this dark, beautiful red. This is a beautiful red. But you've also got this shade Musk here that's a little bit more cool toned. So you can, that's the nice thing about this palette. You can go a little bit more cool, you can go a little bit more warm. I've created so many different types of looks with this palette, and I've just dipped my toes into this palette. I mean, I just started using this like really over the last month. It's just got a lot to choose from. You know, it doesn't have something as dark as a black, you know, if you like that sort of thing, but this is a really beautiful dark brown, and so that can kind of act as your, you know, deepening shade. And these different finishes are so nice. Like this one here is like a straight up glitter, so I don't use that one a ton just because it's a little bit messy, but if you wanted that, that's there. Some of these shimmers are a little more of top coats, so they're a little more sheer, but you can build them up. So like this shade, for example, it's called Retrograde. You can see when I swatch it, it's a little more sheer. It really is more of a topper, but that's what I have on the outer corners of my eyes right here. So I just sprayed my brush and I really built it up. So you can do that. And just some of these shades are beautiful duochrome shades. I just feel like there's so much I can do with this palette. You know, if I want to create a purple look, if I want to create a sunset eye, you know, that certainly has that theme going on here with the desert dusk. And, you know, something really warm, something really glittery, something kind of soft and subtle too. So many options with this palette. I really have been loving this. I never thought that I would fall this far in love with a palette that I've only had for such a short time, but I highly recommend this one, honestly. And so I'm sure that their new, you know, the Rose Gold Remastered is awesome too, because if it's the same formula as this, I think it's fantastic. So if you prefer that shade selection, then you might like that one better. But I've been just loving this one. I think it's so good. So this would be at the top of my list for sure. The next one has a little bit of a similar color scheme. I have a type, what can I say? So this is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. Now this is one that was originally limited edition, and they brought it back permanently because people just went nuts for this palette. And I think with good reason, honestly. It's beautiful. So again, you have, you know, some of these, sorry, it's sort of reflective, but you have some of those orangey tones and the purple tones. You can certainly create pretty similar looks with this one, you know, as you can with the Huda Beauty palette as well. But maybe not so many, you know, cool tone looks with this one. But there's still a lot of variety here. So you can go totally purple. You can, you know, just focus on, you know, this shade here, Ladyship. You know, there's this Queen Mother shade. It's a beautiful dark shimmery purple. Look at that. That's just gorgeous. So pretty. That orange is really nice. I will say this purple is not quite as good, in my opinion, as the one in the Huda palette, but this one still is very nice. And these shades just blend really nicely. They're just really good quality. I love the shade Princess as a crease shade. It's just a really pretty soft pink color, like almost a mauvey pink. Really love that. But you could go, you know, pretty basic with this palette. You know, you could go in with, you know, Air and Royal Prerogative, and then, you know, go in with Your Majesty here. You can go in with Duchess to deepen it out and make just sort of like, you know, a typical brown smoky eye type of look. You know, with that sort of, you know, this gold here, this bronzy color. Oh, look at that. It's just, it's like metal. I mean, some of these shades, you don't even need to wet them. They're just gorgeous on their own. It's definitely a pricey palette, again, like the Huda one, a little bit pricey, but I think it really is worth it. If you are into this color scheme like I am, I think that you would really enjoy this one. So I definitely would use this for a month, and I don't think I would get bored. The next one is another one that you may see and go, well, duh. So this is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I know, it's probably pretty obvious, but I really do love this palette. Again, some of those orangey, you know, reddish tones, but even though you look at this and you think, I don't know, the looks are probably gonna all look the same, I really don't think that they will. You can kind of keep things very, very neutral over on this side. You can create something really dark and smoky over on this side, you know, with this Cypress Umber. You know, Venetian Red and Love Letter are so vibrant and beautiful, and those can be as sort of accent colors as a soft, you know, wash into the crease, or they can be really built up. I've used Love Letter in a sort of halo eye type of look, so I've used that, you know, in the outer and inner corners, and then popped something really bright in the center, and it looks stunning. You know, some of these are really much softer, so there's definitely a lot of variety in this palette. Again, that's sort of the theme for this, but I feel like, you know, for a palette that I'm going to use for a whole month, I want to be able to do an everyday look and something that's a little bit softer, and I wanted to have something that can be, you know, really bam and really have like a strong, you know, nighttime effect if that's what I'm going for. So I think that this palette has it. You know, you definitely have some cooler tones in there. It's not all warm. You look at this palette and you think, that is a warm tone palette. And for the most part it is, but there are some of those cool tones in there, so you can really go there with those as well. You know, this Buon Fresco, if that's how you pronounce it, gorgeous shade. You know, that antique bronze is so unique. I love that shade right there. It's just such a good quality palette. If you're more into the subculture type of shades, then you can go in that direction. And if you like things to be even more neutral and soft, you can go for the newer one. But I think that this one would be my choice because I can still really, really intensify the look and do something really beautiful and bold. But then I can also go very, very soft and pretty. So I think that this is a great palette. I know that this is not a new thing at all, and that I'm sure plenty of you have this one and love this one, but I think that, you know, the idea with this video a little bit too is to think outside the box a little bit with some of our palettes and think, how can I create a look that's a little more different than what I, you know, immediately go for when I look at that palette. And I think that this palette offers a lot more than you even notice when you first look at it. And so that's why I love it so much. Okay, 2 more palettes. So the next one is the ColourPop and Kathleen Light's Dream Street palette. This one is fairly new and I really love it. I think that it's a great palette and it's a great little size. These ColourPop palettes, they're very inexpensive, which is great. And they are very small. You know, every time I've received one of these, I'm just kind of, I forget how little they are. They are really tiny, but they're great for travel. I mean, it doesn't have a mirror, so, you know, there's that. But I don't know, that doesn't bother me so much. But there's just a lot you can do with this palette, and that's why I love it. You can go, again, really soft, you know, with some of these lighter brown shades there and some of these really pretty shimmers that can be built up or be pretty soft and natural. You can go really, really bright and bold. This color right here is so, so pretty. And it looks beautiful, you know, as a soft, you know, dust across the crease, or really built up and made into this beautiful, bold, bright, colorful eye look. Just gorgeous. And then these beautiful teal blue shades. That's the color of this season, right? I mean, that's what a lot of these palettes are having, and this palette is a great way to do it at a very inexpensive price. So I think that that's what's so great. I mean, you know, the shade, look at that, gorgeous. That shade is called Water Bearer. Oh, it's so, so pretty. So pairing that, you know, with this other beautiful shade, Mermaid Boy, oh, just gorgeous. And then I love pairing some of these blues with this shade right here called Kaleidoscope. This shade might be my favorite in the palette, honestly. It's so beautiful. It's a silver, but it's got a bluish shift to it. I don't even think it really translates on camera, but it looks gorgeous with those blue shades. And, you know, even some of the other shades in the palette, you can totally, you know, pair it up with some of those. But I just feel like there are a lot of options in here. And again, it can go really, really bold, and you can do an intense smoky eye with this, whether it's with those blues or whether it's with that bright shade right there. You can definitely do something really intense, or as you can probably tell, you can do something really soft and pretty and natural with this palette. So I really do love this. I think that it's a great quality for the price, and I think that it's just got a lot of options, and I can create a lot of different looks with it, and I wouldn't get bored using this one. And the last palette is by Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. I had to include this one. I mean, this one just was one of the first ones that came into my mind. I didn't even have to look through my collection to know that this one was going to go on this list. I mean, how could it not? There's so many options in this palette. Now, I will say, the only critique that I have is that some of these are a little repetitive, and this could be a little bit of a smaller palette. I mean, some of these shades are pretty similar. And you've got, you know, some of those beautiful colors there. You know, I like to be able to do something a little bit different. I've been trying to use color a lot more this year. And, you know, this has some of that, you know, not a ton, but this is a great palette to have if you are a neutral person, you're comfortable with your neutrals, but you really want to start dipping your toes into some color. This has a little bit there for you just to like, just try me just a little bit, you know, even if it's just on the lower lash line to start, you know, or if it's just a little pop on the lid, this, you know, can get you started in that area. You know, some of these shades are really cool. Like, I love this shade right here. I did a look one time using this shade. It's beautiful. And then with this shade right here, I think that these go beautifully together. So pretty. I really do love those. And with how I am about purples, it's a beautiful purple. It's just a beautiful basic purple, but gorgeous. I just think that this is great quality. This is different quality than some of their older palettes. I don't know if this is the same formula as some of their newer palettes, but I hope so, because this is a great formula. It is better. It is just very, very blendable, very pigmented, and I've been very happy with this. I do feel like it lasts all day long. I don't have really much from Morphe, but I do really love this palette. And I still feel like, and part of that is the size of this, but I've only just started getting going with this palette. You know, I feel like there's so many more looks that I can do with this palette. Even though I've been using it a ton, I've had it for a little while now, I would say, I still feel like there's so much more I can do. You know, sometimes you use a palette for a little while and you're like, well, I guess that's all I can do. So that's fine. But this palette, I feel like there's always something new I can do because there's so many different colors in here. So I definitely think this is a great palette for anybody, whether you are somebody who uses a lot of different palettes or you need just one palette. This is a great one. And I just don't see how I could ever get bored using this because there's just so many options. All right, everyone. So that is it for my 5 palettes that I would not get bored using for a month. Definitely comment down below and let me know what you would choose if you had to pick, you know, some palettes to only use for 1 month at a time. Would you use some of these? Would you use different ones? Let me know what you think. I'd really be curious to hear, you know, some of yours and some of the reasons why you would choose them. A big thank you to Katie for this collaboration. It was so much fun. I'm really excited to watch your video. If you're from Katie's channel, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really love to have you here. If you like this video, please make sure and give it a big thumbs up. That really does help out my channel so much. If you are not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to stick around, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye.